Hey everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the Gundam Unit 5 custom build. So continuing work on the rear thruster. Everything is currently functional now. It is in need of some putty work, but so I'll just show you here. This might be maybe a centimeter, maybe 1.5 too long, but I can always shorten that later. This is a little bit larger version of the one in the concept. I've added a pivot, as well as the thruster casing on the inside, telescopes. The thruster bells will attach there. And so on the inside here is a rail, and that just slips into the grooves that are already here on these rocket launcher parts that I modified, and so that just slips right in there. So I may add some panel detail and add it so that if this like telescopes out, maybe the heat vents out or something through some holes, and it attaches to a piece here. And I wanted to keep in mind that everything here is able to be pulled apart for painting. Here, like in the last video, will be puttied to the main housing on the back armor. So if you pull this out a little bit, so there's a peg embedded here. There's quite a bit of structure in there, so it's not going to bend or snap. I carved a little bit of a channel to accommodate the arm detail. So more panel scribing will add some more details to the bottom here, and some lateral elements. And so it attaches to this segment here, but this is glued to this element here, and that actually slides into where the original thrusters were attached to the back here. So this is where the thrusters originally went, and I added this little peg so it slots into here with a pressure fit, as well as cutting a channel through here, so that once this is mounted to the backpack, this will just slide up diagonally through the housing here. And so there's a pressure fit on the walls here, as well as the peg attachment, and that should be more than enough to support the thruster in the back, as well as this whole housing will be permanently glued and affixed to this guy here, like so. Yeah, so that snaps up right there, and that in there, and we got some detail. So another quick update on the arms. I have since glued the bicep together, so it's all one part. Just have some gaps to fill in with some putty. So on this guy here, I've tried to make these a little bit more planar instead of round. I can slide out the mechanical part of the elbow, and I'll be able to paint that separately. I've also sharpened some of the edges on the exterior here, and I've added the extensions I talked about previously. So I'll have to fill in some of these gaps here and decide exactly how wide it needs to be. And the next part is to extend this elbow detail a bit. And adding these pieces also fixed the joints that were really flimsy before, so it should be able to hold the weapons really well. This is just the initial blockout stages to get the right size and proportion. So this is currently 4 pieces, 2 larger pieces here for the main elements, and then 2 thinner ones on the outside. And then once these strips are filled in the top and bottom, it'll be beveled. This may look like a mess, but there's some progress going on. So these are the main components that's gonna make up the main thruster design. If you check the last video, you can see the design there, or you can see it right there. So these have been cut. I've added an extra strip here for the bevel on the outside of the thruster. So these will go together like so. I've also got the small boxes from a while ago. I got these mocked up. They're a little long, so I'll have to trim the size down. There's some oops, rogue piece, some vent detail here. That'll go on the tip, just along the end right here. And I'll glue a piece of plow plate in there, and that'll insert to the end here and pressure fit. These small elements will make up the rear of the thruster. So these elements will be sandwiched on the outside of the thruster here to make the main block at the end. That'll be removable, and this is where the movement will happen on the thruster. And I believe I'm going to use this polycap here. It's thin enough for how much room there is between these guys, so it's about how much room there is. So I need a really thin joint, and then just a piece of plow plate will slide through there, and that'll attach to the end piece. There might be 2 more rails, like on the top and bottom, so there might be 3. 2 pressure fit and 1 with the polycap, so it has enough strength to hold up the entire unit. So these extra pieces are all going to be support material to finish out the rest of the shape. So these longer pieces here will be cemented to the top and bottom. You see I've labeled the center with a C, just to make sure I know which part is on the inside, as well as a quick little diagram of where these little guys are going to slide into. There's going to be a piece similar to this in the middle, and to carve out a channel and then add a piece of plow plate to these guys so they slide up and kind of snap pressure fit into the center here. Looks like a bit of a mess, but it'll get there eventually. Oh, and then for the design at the very tip, the highlight there, that'll be trimmed off from the original, already have, and I'll attach a square peg to it, and that'll attach there. So I'll have a detail element flush, so without the extra parts, and then one with the rack for the weapons, for the 2 hip parts. And then on the interior, or I should say the inside facing part of the thruster, is going to be I decided to go with a ball joint, because that'll give me the greatest amount of flexibility to rotate along several axes, as well as give me some kind of flare laterally, so I'll be able to move kind of in any direction, and independently too, so they don't have to slide up and down at the same time. And I've already done some modifications to the rail, which you can see coming up shortly. These are the side skirt armor pieces. Boom. Let's see if that works. Maybe not quite so much. And right there. Boom. So I've lengthened the front and rear armor. And these were felt a little short. And I thought it would be pretty easy to go ahead and extend those. This way to do this. So that kind of is intact, sort of. So I just found a part where it was safe to cut both parts without ruining any of the other bevels, so just a flat part. So I cut it on the white part just before the bevel at the top, and on the red part right before the pegs. And in its place, or in between those, gonna put a few millimeters of claw plate on both sides, and that'll get cemented and shaped into place and give me, I think that's maybe about 2 millimeters of extra room before carving any extra detail into these guys. So it'll match the other armor a little bit better.